Hey, this is a short little video about the inner critic in our head, the voice that takes over when we're doing really well and we come in and we get annihilated by a voice that just takes over and tells us that we're not good enough or there's something wrong with us or we're not perfect. And it can be very difficult to be out in the world because often, even particularly things like this where we're also opinionated of what other people either look like, who they are, what they are, their identity. We can be quite hard on other people. I heard a young lady today, they were commenting on somebody on an Instagram post as I was walking down the street, and the young girl said to the other girl, she said, "What does she look like?" And this person just said something so horrible about another human being. In fact, I can't repeat it. It was just, such judgment, and yet we're all beautiful in ways that we don't even realize. It could be the sparkle in our eye, it can be the way we, our gentleness or our empathy, or it could be anything we've all got something beautiful about us, something that is meaningful to someone that loves and cares for us. And we may find that with our friends as well, that we see things in them that they couldn't possibly see in themselves. So with Clarissa Pinkola Estes, she made a book called Women Who Run With Walls. First of all, it was an audio book, I believe, and then it was turned into a book in around the late 89, 90, 91. I think the book was published in 92, but I believe, I could be wrong, that Clarissa Pinkola Estes used her voice first. And she has the most luscious voice. This woman's voice is, if you've not heard it, then do a bit of research and maybe pull up a YouTube or find an audiobook, and I highly recommend her work. So with the inner critic, there was part of the book, and it's a 5-volume book, all one chapter after the other. In fact, I can't recall. I'm going to look here because it's important. I'm just looking at my mobile phone, and it was, let's see, so the one I read was The Late Bloomer, and it's from, if I get my act together, it's basically myths and stories from the wise woman archetype, okay? So it's myths and stories of the wise woman archetype. So that one I got on Audible, and from that book, I found what she says here. So that voice that comes into our head, this is what we are, or she suggests how we deal with it. And then on top of that, we also have, there's 2 things she mentions here, which I'll explain afterwards. And one of them is Eeyore. In this short paragraph, Eeyore was the donkey in Winnie the Pooh, and that was around 1926 that Eeyore was brought into the story. The donkey was a bit depressed, but he had a part in the whole setup of that story of Winnie the Pooh. And then we've got the myth and Procustus, which you can look up that word. And Procustus was an evil, cruel robber who killed people, and it's Greek mythology, so you can check out what that means. I'll give you the spelling of that afterwards, but let me read this to you, and it's not too long. So who the hell is that talking to me like that? It doesn't take long to determine that it's an acrid old voice, like from long ago, that still lives in the wind, that has come one more time to attack us in a place of safety. What is a place of safety for us but a creative life? Where do we feel the best that we can feel? It is in creating and making something happen, giving love to people, making others smile. Well, it is that we are safe when we are creating goodness, usefulness in the world. And when does that voice come? It comes in the area we feel safest, happiest, where we feel most contentment, where we feel most sure of ourselves that we are doing the right thing. Guess who shows up? Eeyore and Procustus. It's not and Procustus, Eeyore Procustus. So say be gone. When we say it, then it is done. Be gone. There is no place for you here. There is nothing of you in me. There is nothing of you in me. And so demons are set aside and turned to dust and fall to the ground as ashes. So what we need to try and achieve is really telling that part of us that gets stuck in the critic voice. We need to tell it, be gone. And if we don't do it, nobody's going to do it for us. And so many people are walking around feeling like they have imposter syndrome, that they're not enough, that they can't do what they want to do. We even tell ourselves, I can't do that. And we give ourselves all the reasons why we can't do something. And often it's not even a voice that we have. It's a voice that basically we have picked up. Somebody's told us something. Maybe when we were small, somebody said something and we are unconsciously reacting to something somebody said a long time ago. And it can be in any situation of our lives, through being very small to being an adult as we move through. And some things cement it, because if people repeat the same type of thing to us, then we can think, oh, I'm not good enough. So I just really, I know my own struggle with this over the years, and pulling back and not showing myself or being afraid of what others think. So it's time, if we can, to really dig into that and truly get to some peace that everybody's struggling with this in them. And as a result of that, if we can begin to live true to ourselves, then it helps other people as well. It helps other people to begin to see us as a role model and say, oh, well, if they can do it, then I can do it. And that makes the world a nicer place. That's all I have for today. But I do suggest, if you look into, particularly for the females, the Clarissa Pinkola Estes, it's beautiful work. And I know that voice is how we hear people. It's all preference based, what we like. But I would say that most people would absolutely adore her voice. Thanks for watching.